Hi, I'm Jay, and I talk about books and crafts from an autistic and disabled lens. And I thought it would be really fun today to unbox my first shipment of library at home materials. So if you're not familiar with programs like this, my local library does a program called Library at Home for individuals who are homebound and can't make it to the library for some reason or another. So if they're disabled and can't make it to a physical branch, or have another reason that they can't get in, whether they're temporarily disabled or permanently disabled, they can request to join the Library at Home program. And what it is, you get these fun little mailers in the mail. Mine get dropped off on my front porch, and it comes with a tag, and one side of the tag, which I'm not going to show you, has my address on it, and the other side you just flip it over and stick it back in this little slot, and it's got the library's address. So when I'm done, I just put any materials I want to return right in the bag. And yeah, this is my first time getting a shipment. I have 3 bags today, and I thought we could go through it and see what I had picked out. The program kind of has 2 ways of getting books. So you can put them on hold with the main library branch, and they will stuff them into the bags for you and send them. Um, or you can give them a list of your interests and the things that you enjoy reading and your genres, and if you want DVDs, if you want audiobooks on CD, if you want anything like that, and they will deliver those to you. If you hear scratching, my cat is really angry that I've locked her out of the room, which I didn't mean to, but I asked her 5 times if she wanted back in the room. She said no, and now she's throwing a fit about it. She's very dramatic. Thank you. We have 3 to unbox today. They come in these really sturdy canvas bags that they're not fully weatherproof, so they don't advise leaving these outside in the weather before pickup, but they are very sturdy and reusable. And what they'll do is when I'm done, I stick my books back in. So what I got this time is I got DIY wrap bracelets by Kiko Sakamoto. I thought this looked interesting. I wasn't super familiar with this, but I got this one on the library front page had a book of activities to do indoors, and I thought, being someone who needs to spend most of their time sitting and most of their time not being super on my feet, this would be fun to do. So anytime they have a list of fun things to do indoors, or fun things to do at home, or things to do on a rainy day, I like to kind of browse the list and see if there's any fun crafts for adults. And this one looks like it's interesting. It's a lot of different bracelets using different materials and techniques, but it seems like it very much does go over the basics of jewelry making when talking about wrap bracelets. So I'm interested to see if I like this one. But yeah, um, for those when I say that I can't be super vertical a lot of the time or can't stand up a lot of the time, I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and a connective tissue disorder that at first they had called it chondromalacia patella because it primarily started affecting my knees when I was a young teen, but progressively got worse and kind of started to impact all of my joints. But the disorder is where my cartilage will disintegrate. And so typically when you have an instrument, it pokes through and against it or whatever. But my cartilage just dissolves and turns to mush in a lot of my body. It's led to me having dental problems. It's led to me having facial structure problems because my cartilage is dissolving. So to have that combined with the hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos has caused a lot of mobility problems and pain problems. And there is a strong overlap between things like HEDS and something like POTS, and that is something that I need. I have an appointment with my cardiologist coming up because now anytime I stand up, I tend to have my heart rate spike from low 60s to like 120 something, and I keep passing out. So when I say I can't go places or be vertical a lot of the time, that's what I mean by that. Um yeah, I generally need to stay sitting or lying down a lot of the time. Um and so books are a good solace for that, but any crafting books that I have are an especially good solace. Um All's Fair in Love and Field Hockey. I saw this one on, I think on Storygraph. This was one that was recommended to me, and I've been trying to get more books that are like are recommended to me off of that and kind of get through them. But I like the idea of, I mean, it's hockey, it's queer, it's okay, so it's by Kit Rosewater. I keep wanting to read more sports romance. I really like writing sports romance. I I just don't have much experience with field hockey. I usually am more soccer based. That's kind of um my niche of like books that I like. And so I'm very interested to read this because I don't really know anything about field hockey. So I don't know, like, is this like field hockey accurate? Is it more about the sport? Is it more about the romance? I don't know. I'm here for it anyway. I love girls in love. This kind of makes me feel like I'm going to be into it. And I think it'll be a relatively quick read. I also got One Last Summer by Kate Spencer. I literally know nothing about this. This was on a list of books that the library had made about vacation themed romances, and I was like, count me in. I like vacation themed romances. Um, so I know nothing about this other than like literary title. I got this one based on the cover alone. Thought it would be interesting. So I don't even think I read the synopsis. I just like went through that list and was like, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. Put them in the basket, basically. Um, all right, so that is all for bag 1 of 3. So usually I think they try to just fit as many as they can, but since I was getting some hardcovers and a larger crafting book, that kind of took up more space in here. Bag 2. Let's go. So bag 2, Believe, the untold story behind Ted Lasso, the show that kicked its way into our hearts. So I got this one because, as you can buy the bags, potentially. I mean, I know there's a lot of Johnson counties in the state of Kansas, or in the country, but mine happens to be in the state of Kansas. And literally, like right in our area, they've been filming for season 4. And Kiddo and I have been binging season 2. I think we just finished season 2. We're getting into season 3. We're a big, big, big soccer family. So, I'm trying to see if I can get the light to adjust so you can actually see the cover. We're a big soccer family. I love I love watching soccer. In the past, when I was more mobile, we had season tickets to the local soccer team. Like I'm really into soccer, and as a result, I really do like um Ted Lasso. I think it combines soccer and conversations around anxiety and mental health and underdog stories and everything really, really well, which is why I like it. And so I think it'll be interesting to hear the untold story. Like, I was a fan of the original sketches that kind of inspired Ted Lasso because I've been a long-term fan of Jason Sudeikis just by nature of like being in Kansas City. You have like those people like Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, all of that who like grew up here and are like woven into our city's culture basically. And for me, um I was a huge fan of the original sketches. I remember in high school or college or something sending them some friends. I was like the weirdo who liked soccer when like everyone else in my group either didn't like sports or was like big on American football, and I I thought they were so hilarious and sent them around, and yeah, I've been hooked ever since. So when they made a full show out of it, I was like, I have to see it. Well, now really excited to read this. Um, it's not like it's secret. This was again one that I saw on Storygraph and kind of just went with the cover vibes. I'm like, this looks queer. This looks great. It's teen fiction. I like a good teen fiction because sometimes I'm just not in the mood of like for some of the heaviness of adult fiction. And this is a good like gap filler between like really very like heavy literary works to have like a lighter teen romantic fiction that's a little bit like less, I don't know. I don't ever want to say difficult to process because I think there are a lot of teen works that have like pushed me farther in terms of like literary power and like reading and things that I needed to take in than like an adult fiction book. But this looked light and fun and cute. And again, I didn't even read the synopsis. I'm going by cover vibes alone. And that's the end of book one. Because again, I was getting hardcovers, and I think that kind of um takes up more space in the bags. All right, bag three. Sensational Quilt for Scrap Lovers. I am super excited about this one. It's by Judy Gauthier. Um, that she is a quilt shop owner and quilter, and has some really beautiful quilts. Like this one on the back is honestly one of my favorite quilts that I've seen in a while, and it's made largely with scraps. I think my only concern is like I am a scrap quilter. All of the quilts that I like, all the um, well, okay, I should rephrase. I am starting a quilt. I quilted a very, very long time ago when my grandmother was still alive. I was in like middle school. And when I made that quilt, my mom's friend largely took the lead in like helping me learn how to quilt. And I got the basics of cutting and piecing and putting the work together, but I didn't do a lot of the process to the point of like in my quilt start to finish. Um, but as I've been looking for more like seated tasks and things I can do that aren't like very laborious on my body, I have found diving back into quilting because I was gifted a sewing machine. Someone that I knew had replaced their sewing machine and they were rehoming their old one and wanted to know if I wanted it. I was like, great, this is perfect. Um, and so I've gotten into trying to quilt, but all of the fabric that I have right now, due to affordability and access, is scraps from other quilters who are like, hey, I have like a piece of fabric that's like this big if you want it. Or like I have, a yard or two left over from another quilt project. And so a lot of the stuff that I have is very mismatched right now. And is also very, it's like small. And so I really want to make use of even the smallest pieces of fabric. And when I do things, I look for ways to even use like the tiny little strips that you cut off when you're trimming things. And so, one thing I haven't found when looking for a scrap quilting book is something that makes use of that. And I do think that this largely will make use of those larger pieces for when you have like 3-inch pieces, 5-inch pieces, things like that. But it does seem to talk about color and cutting strategies. So I like the idea of it kind of helping me get more creative with the scraps that I have in terms of what to pair together with colors, because maybe I have like 2 or 3 that are in the same color family but have like really different patterns. And if this can kind of help me think about how to pair those together, then I think that will be useful whether or not it's working with the same size scraps that I'm working with, if that makes sense. Um, I got The Greatest Thing, Sarah Winifred Cyril, and I think Okay, the reason that I picked this one, I think, is because I had read another book by this author and really liked it. It's a graphic novel. And I think anytime that I have a graphic novel that I'm like, oh, I enjoyed this, I tend to like click on that author at the library and see what else they have available. Like if there's an art style or a story or something I particularly enjoyed, I just go ham on the author's backlist, which is why I got this one. I don't know what it's about so much as I know that this author has done like graphic novels that are queer in the past, and I'm very much here for that. And then stuck in this one is a paper. So let's see what the paper is. It says, to request more items, complete and return this form in your blue bag. We will do our best to send items you request as soon as possible. There may be a wait for popular titles. So I just fill out my name, the date, the library card number, the format I prefer for the requested books, and then the items that I would like to get. Um, and then how satisfied I am. And I can also, like, it does also say that I can request titles through the web, which is what I typically do, or by phone. But it's nice to have this one. If I were a senior who was not super skilled at using the web, but knew what else I wanted, this would be very helpful. And then also sometimes I may say, like, these are some books I've loved by this author. Can you send me additional books by that author? It might be something that I could do because they've told me that like they can help select books for me if I don't know exactly what I want, but I kind of know what I want. So like I really enjoy this quilting book. I might be able to say like, please send more books in the quilting category. This is the book or books that I've read in that category. So they don't send me the same thing, but they can potentially like send me some new stuff in that vein, if that makes sense. And I've got one more book. In a Not So Perfect World by Neely Tabati Alexander. Again, this was one that was on the vacation themed books, vacation themed romance books list that I just kind of popped in without reading the synopsis and without much knowledge of it. So I'm excited for this to be kind of a surprise. There were some books that I had checked out or like put on hold that I had more like knowledge of, but I guess this shipment was more books that they had sent me that I had kind of just like hopped on without actually like thinking about it and just being like, oh, I kind of am in the mood for some varied books. And I don't really know what I want, so I'll just stick some in. Um, and that's kind of nice. I mean, I've been on a novel kick for a lot of the summer. I basically just read manga. And so it's weird to have like a bag of books here that's like basically not at all hardly any manga, but that's okay. So in terms of things I have to send back, Sanctum by Madeline Rue. This is the sequel to Asylum. If you like very, very twisted, dark, kind of like thriller-esque vibes, this series is really good. And one thing that I love about this series is it incorporates, I want to say like, it's not found footage, but it's kind of the same vibe as found footage, and that like every once in a while there will be like vintage photographs and stuff in the book that relate to the story. And it very much kind of makes it much more immersive. So like if someone sends a note and it's in their handwriting, like you might see a note in here in their handwriting that like shows you what the character has found and things like that, which I really do like a lot. It's very much like Asylum is very much about like a group of teens who goes to a college prep program, and their dorm is in an old decommissioned asylum. But as they're in there, a lot of really intense things start happening, especially as they start digging a little bit deeper. And the main character, Dan Crawford, starts to unpack some of the connections that he might not have realized he had to the old asylum. and to the town and to the warden that did a lot of twisted experiments on people there. So it's a very dark story, and this sequel kind of picks up with some of the characters kind of returning, feeling like maybe there's more to find out. Um, and there's one more book and 3 novellas in the series for me to wrap up. So I've already requested the next one, and I'm hoping it comes in my next shipment, but we'll see. But that can go back into the blue bag. I am almost done with A Good Neighborhood by Teresa Ann Fowler, which I will probably finish in the next day or two. This one has been very heartbreaking. So in this, you have kind of an overall narrator. It kind of seems like more of like a Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed lovers kind of story, and very much reads kind of like a stage play in that you're seeing it from the perspective of the neighborhood. And so you are either like a collective, like neighbor who's overseeing all of this, or maybe you're like one of the neighbors kind of tuned into the gossip, but kind of outside of it. But it starts with Valerie, who is a single mom to a biracial son. She is a Black woman living in North Carolina. She's a botanist. She is a widow, and she loves to tend to her flowers. She's very thoughtful in her neighborhood, hosts the, regular book club that her neighborhood has. And everything is going really well until the neighbors move in the backyard. Well, the yard neighboring their back lawn, and clear cut everything to put in a pool and this expansive, like $1 million something home. That really doesn't suit the kind of neighborhood that they're in. For the most part, it's a um, quiet neighborhood with ranch homes, and they put in this really extravagant home. And the person moving in is Brad, who is their local HVAC celebrity, who's like on these regular commercials, and everybody feels like they know him because of the commercials, and his wife and their 2 daughters. Um, and you learn a little bit more about the interconnectedness of their families, about the blossoming romance between their 2 teenagers, about the lives that they live and how they're different through the lens of the neighborhood as the oak tree in Valerie's backyard starts to be affected and starts to die from the clear cutting that happened in way of making room for their pool in their home. So it's a very heartbreaking novel so far. It's a very interesting novel so far. It has a lot of conversations on a lot of big things. And the narrative perspective of it being from like the neighborhood collectively is very interesting to me. Also going in the bag soon is Blue Lock Volume 5. I've been going through this series, and as I mentioned, I really love soccer. So in this series, you have a collection of strikers from around Japan who are in this lockdown facility with the goal of becoming the #1 striker who will go on to help Japan win the World Cup. But if they don't succeed and they don't do well, then they're never allowed to play soccer again. That is the goal of the person who is training them. And so they each have to learn how to use their special skills in conjunction with their other teammates that they're playing alongside, while also understanding that only one can be the victor. So sometimes they take very like selfish perspectives on things, which is very interesting. And finally, I will be starting this one soon. Obviously, another soccer one. 1500 Miles from the Sun. I don't actually know a whole lot about this. It's actually a book that I have checked out from the library now because I had gotten a lot of books from my shelves. I had kind of taken them in and sold them because I felt like I needed to pare down the amount of physical things that I owned. So I sold a bunch at Half Price Books and kind of just felt the need to reduce the amount of physical clutter in my home. And never got around to reading this one. It was something that was on a friend's recommendation. In fact, it's a friend who is mentioned in the acknowledgments, said, "You would like this. You're into soccer. Like, this is a book that you would enjoy. You like queer YA. Like, this is right up your alley." And I was like, heck, I gotta grab it. That sounds amazing. So I grabbed it. A lot of the people who blurb the back are other like authors of books that I've loved. So I really feel like I will enjoy this one. I just haven't read it yet. Um, and the same story with A Good Neighborhood. I'd had this on my shelf forever, like for 3 or 4 years, and had not touched it, had not gotten around to reading it, and decided to go ahead and get rid of it. And so I've been slowly checking out the books that I like purged physical copies of to make some more physical space for other things that we wanted. And I make a big spreadsheet before I did that of the books that I thought that I still might want to read, but didn't want to retain a physical copy of because I didn't think that it was like something I needed to have physically on hand and on my shelves forever, but might still want to read. And so I've been slowly going through my spreadsheet and requesting those from the library. And those two are books that I had requested from the library and will go into the blue bag in the next few days. So I thought maybe I will probably return them before I get the chance to do another unboxing video. So I thought I would tell you about them before I do. But yeah, so that's what I unboxed today. That's what I'll be reading over the next few weeks. And I'll be back when I get another bag to unbox more. And if I try anything out of the two craft books, I might make a video and show y'all that. And if you want to hear me rave about the Asylum series more, you should check out the podcast channel that I host with Alex of Soulfully Alex here on YouTube. We are And They Weren't Roommates. You can also find that on YouTube. We have a July wrap-up series that is, or wrap-up video that is either up now or coming soon, depending on when we post this. And we talk more about what we read, watched, and listened to in the month of July. And I go on and on about Sanctum a little bit more and about Asylum and about why I love that series. So you can check it out there and also see what my co-host Alex loves to read and add to your TBR. That's my favorite thing. And if there's a book that you think that I should request from the library so I can unbox it in a future video, let me know and I'll add it to my list. Yeah, you can find me here pretty regularly. I'm going to try to make more of a consistent upload schedule. And you can also find me over at And They Weren't Roommates on YouTube. I'm not really on the other socials anymore. It's been nice kind of paring those down. So, yeah. See ya.